Splashway Beats, splashing the check-in. Thank you for tuning in. I have another video for you guys once again, talking about traveling. The video playing on screen right now is brought to you by Soul Walker. Check out his YouTube channel, Yoshu City in 4K. The music playing in the background is music just for the soul. So the title of this video is going to be the type of guys that should not live abroad. Okay, you should not live abroad. If I name any one of these character flaws, you should not live abroad. And some of these character flaws I'm about to name off are for the ladies also. Now, first on my list is if you have kids. If you have kids, you should not move abroad. All right. You're a single father, you're a single mother, you should not live abroad. Now, let's say you and your lady, you're still married and, you know, your job relocates you somewhere else. You're making more money. You're doing good for yourself. Then, yeah, all right, move abroad. Wherever your country, wherever your job places you, whatever country your job places you in. Even if you work off the computer, you're like, hey, let's travel as a family. You know, I got enough money for all of us. Let's do this. Then, yeah, do that. But if you're a single father, you're a single parent, you're a single mother, do not move abroad. I know in the chat room that I'm in, there was a guy one time who came through. He had like 2 kids and he was desperately trying to move to Japan because he just, quote unquote, loved Japan. Don't know anything about it. All right. A lot of guys, you know, they fantasize about some of these countries and they think once they get there, their problems will just go away. And once the novelty wears off after you land, you're just left with a busy city and a country. More than likely, you don't know how to speak the language. Just another busy city. And what makes it even worse is you live in a homogenous society. And you have but only so many options, you know, in order to make money there. You know, I mean, if you're not a go-getter, you're just a traditional office worker. All right. So if you have kids, man, do not travel abroad. I've met women who traveled abroad with their kids and they were single mothers. I'm like, why? Is the music too loud? I'll turn it down. All right. So another one I'm going to touch on. Another thing I'm going to touch on. If you're too young, you should not move abroad. Not travel abroad. You should not move abroad. Traveling and moving are 2 different things. You should travel, yes, but you should not move abroad. You're too young. You're too young-minded. You don't listen. You know, you're at the age where you want to take chances and make mistakes, and you can't afford to make those mistakes abroad in a different country. They will lock you up in a heartbeat. Even celebrities, look at A$AP Rocky and Freddie Gibbs. Just recently, some black female singer, she got locked up over there in Amsterdam recently. I forgot her name. But see, the thing is, you know, they got the paper and the support to get them out of there. And even when you got the paper, the support, and the influence to, you know, get out of certain situations that the normal person can't get out of, you know, they're still going to hold you for a while. The thing is, you don't even really fully know yourself. Like, I don't think a guy should move abroad. I don't think a guy should move abroad until, I would say the earliest is like 28. The youngest, like 28, 29 years old. Really 30. (28, 29 years old, the youngest. You just graduated university. You're 22, 23 years old. You should not move abroad. in my opinion. Now, if you're doing like a foreign exchange program with your university and then going to another country for, a university for like a couple of months, like a semester or two, that's fine. But actually getting up and moving there on your own, you're too young, especially as a man. Another thing, if you have low self-esteem, if you have a history of having low self-esteem, you have low self-esteem because you don't like yourself. You don't like the skin you're in. You don't like your weight. You don't like your height. You have low self-esteem because you don't have experience with women. You have low self-esteem because all the women in your neighborhood rejected you. You don't really have any sexual experiences, enough sexual experiences with women over the years. You're socially awkward. Man, do not move abroad. You need to do the work, get some therapy, get help first, then maybe you can move abroad. But do not move abroad, because you're just going to project that low self-esteem onto others, and the image of black people, whatever race you are, the image of the race of people that you are, that you represent, other people, you're just going to project those insecurities and that low self-esteem energy onto others. And a lot of people, they're going to think, damn, this is how black people are. This is how Hispanics are. This is how white males are. And who wants to work with that? Who wants to be around that? All right. Another thing I'm going to mention, if you're a bum in your hometown and you're an anime geek, do not travel abroad. I knew this one cat, man. He didn't have a license, never worked a full-time job. Never really paid any bills of his own. Last time I spoke with him, he was like 25 or 26, still living at home in his mom's house. Didn't even go to university. Said, I don't have the patience. I don't have the discipline to go to university. I don't think I'm just going to get a fake degree and move abroad. Do not move abroad. Stay in America. You're only going to get yourself locked up. You're only going to get in more trouble. I've seen guys, they were so desperate just to get over to Japan. I knew a guy, he booked a flight to go to Japan because he was inspired by, them stories that you hear from celebrities like, yeah, I moved to LA with only $40 in my pocket. He tried doing that in Japan. He moved to Japan with only $800 in his pocket, and he stayed there for about a month. Cleaning up little cafe motels, internet cafe motels, and he didn't take showers, didn't brush his teeth, didn't get a haircut. There were guys that met up with him over there and that I knew that met up with him over there in Japan to kind of help him out. And they said that this man smelled like a septic tank. If your only purpose is to travel abroad, move abroad, it's because you're into anime and you're thirsty for anime. What's the difference? You have access to all the anime you want to watch in America. You have the same access as everybody else. You're not going to move over to Japan and discover new anime that nobody else has access to. It's not a bunch of One Piece stores and Bleach and Naruto stores all over the place in Japan. The streets aren't, paved with, Attack on Titan bricks. There aren't big anime murals anywhere on the side of buildings. Like, just a lot of people just nerds and they're like, okay, I want to move abroad to Japan. Don't do it. Now, another thing, if you're traveling just for the women, do not move abroad. If you want to move abroad just for the women, do not do it. Okay? Women come when you're not even paying attention to them like that. Most of the time, when you're just being yourself, and you don't go to certain places with the intention on trying to find women, because women can smell the desperation on you, because women, the roles are reversed. Women, they want to hunt. Players get chose. Women today, they want to hunt for the men. Men hunting for them, they don't really respect a lot of men that hunt for them. You got to make yourself valuable enough to where a woman wants to approach you, so that you know that they're 100% cooperative. Too many guys out here are talking about game this, game that. Now, if a woman doesn't notice you, sure, approach her. But most of the time, when I went to certain places without the intention of like, man, I'm not just going there just for the women. I'm going there just to have a good time. You end up meeting a bunch of women. A bunch of women end up just approaching you because of that. It's that cool, laid back energy that you have. You go to places and, in your mind, you're like, oh, I got to find a woman. I got to get a woman. I want this type of woman. I want this type of woman. Man, they can smell the desperation on you. And it turns women off. Okay. And that goes for the ladies too. Ladies that are just traveling just for men. Don't do it. If you're trying to move abroad just for men because you like BTS and you like K-pop and you want to move to Korea, don't do it. All day I see nothing but black women on TikTok talking about their dating horror stories. I recently just watched a video this morning. I'm not lying. I watched a video this morning and it's this chunky, she's cute. She has a cute face. Like if she lost weight, she would be, I'm pretty sure she'd be fine. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if she'd be an 8. She'd be an adjustable 6. Like she'd definitely be a 6, but she could be adjusted to an 8. That's how cute this girl is. Like, and she already got, she's top heavy already. Smooth skin, pretty face. She's just overweight. She got up on TikTok today talking about how the night before she went on some date and they were watching a movie. They hit the late night show because I guess the date must have been a Korean guy. Cause this black woman, she lives in Korea and must have been a late night date. And the dude wanted to see the movie at the latest showtime that night that was available because, you don't want to go there when it's crowded and then you're there with a black woman. So that's, I'm sure she didn't pick up on that, but he met up with her. I'm pretty sure this was like their first time meeting up. They probably met on some dating app. He met up with her, saw how she looked or whatever. And in the middle of the movie, he got up and said, "Hey, I need to go to the bathroom." She said, "Okay." He's like, "All right, I'll be right back." This guy never came back. And she noticed he was gone for a long time. So after, several minutes, 10, 15 minutes or whatever, she got up, walked out of the movie to look for this guy. And since it was a late night showing, I'm sure it was like halfway into the movie. So it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. There was nobody there. You know how when you see the last show of the movie and you walk out of the movie, there's nobody in the building except security. And she recorded herself like, there's nobody here. I don't know where my date went. He stood me up, this, that, and the third. I mean, I see stories like that on social media all the time. I see stories like that from black women in Korea all the time. Ladies, do not travel just for men. Do not move abroad just for the men. You will lose every single time. I remember one time, this one chick, like in Canada, there's a lot of women who they get into these long distance relationships with guys in the Caribbean islands like Jamaica. And these are like high crime, high crime countries. These countries, they have a high crime rate. You used to hear about these white women coming back, crying on social media because their boyfriend then got killed. The Jamaican boyfriend in Jamaica and got killed. It's like, it's insane. Like, why are you going down there? And they have tunnel vision. It's like they don't see nobody else in Canada except for the man that's in Jamaica. Do not move abroad just for men. Ladies, do not move abroad just for men, and women. And males, do not move abroad just for the ladies. Move abroad for the experience. And when you have that mindset, you'll do all right. Now, if you're too optimistic, do not move abroad. If you can appreciate when somebody gives you the good, the bad, the ugly, and they give you game on how to maneuver in certain countries, and hey, this is what you should do. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop-de-woo. Stay away from this. Hey, you could do this, that, and a third, but the negative side of moving over here is this, that, and a third. If you can appreciate somebody for dropping knowledge on you, then you'll be all right. But if all you want to hear is the good and you don't want to hear the bad, you don't need to move abroad. I know a lot of people like that. You give them the negative side of certain parts of Asia and they always got some excuse. Well, that's not what I heard from somebody else. I'm like, I don't care what that person said. Most of the time when they're talking about, well, I didn't hear that from somebody else, it's a black person that's telling me this, and the person that they're talking about is somebody that does not look like them. You're going to have two totally different experiences. That game isn't for you. The game I'm giving you is for you. And there's so much pushback. It's like, all right, dude, don't bother traveling abroad. Do not bother moving abroad. You're only going to get yourself hurt. All right. If you're trying to get away from racism, do not move abroad. You're going to find out real quick that the racism in America is no different than anywhere else. The only reason why you're not getting capped in any other country is because your numbers are really low. I see women on YouTube and, TikTok, black women, they're talking about how, there's so much racism, this, that, and the third in Korea. Well, and then they're like, well, at least they're not killing black people. It's like they're not doing that. Maybe one of the reasons why they're not doing that is because your numbers are low. Like this, I would say, I think some of the cities in America that have, the highest populated numbers of, the highest population of black people there, the highest percentage of black people living in that city. I think one of the places like Detroit is like 80% black. Atlanta used to be 80% black. There's different parts of Georgia where it's like 80% black. You can go throughout the entire day without seeing anybody else of a different race in some of these cities. I mean, there's cities like that, several cities like that in America. 80% black, 75% black, 60% black. The entire city. let me tell you, if some of these countries, like, if they woke up and just 15% of the population in that city was black, that's when you really see them turn up. But you think you're going to move to get away from racism? No, it's just, it's still ramen noodles, just different flavor. Same soup, different flavor. You had tomato soup. Now you're going to have, this chicken noodle soup. It's all soup. It's just different flavor. All right. I'm not going to get too deep into that. I'm going to move on. If you don't have some sort of plan or some sort of exit strategy before you move abroad, do not move abroad. You got a plan you got to have an exit strategy, and you got to have a plan of what you're going to do if you get married and have children. A lot of guys, they don't think that far. They just think to the point where I'm going to get married, have children, get a visa and live there for the rest of my life. And then when you take your kids to school and they're being mistreated, it's like, all right, they would have a better life in America. You didn't really plan for that. So now you got to work twice as hard as what you used to work before, not only to save money, but you got to take care of your kids, give them their needs, their wants. Then you got to save up enough money to move back to America or your home country, whatever that is. You got to make sure you make enough to move into a good location. You got to, build up your skills. Because if you've been working at some job that didn't really require too much skill abroad, it's kind of like, man, you can't just go back thinking, okay, at least I got a degree. You can't just go back to America. Man, you got to build up your skills. That's why I recommend IT. Build up your IT skills. You can get certified anywhere around the world through IT. Look into that. But if you don't have a plan or some sort of exit strategy, do not move abroad. Next one on my list, if you don't have the ambition to create multiple streams of revenue for yourself, do not move abroad. Because the jobs they're only allowed to give you, now if it's a good job and you're using your degree and they're paying you well, and you like your coworkers, you like the work life there, then all right. But if you're doing some, minimalistic work, a mindless job, doesn't really require too much skill, you're going to get burnt out after a while. Especially if you're dealing with kids, you're going to get burnt out after a while. And I don't know why, especially in Japan, look at Soul Walker. Look at his channel right here. All he did was save up for a good camera, a good lens for that camera. All he's doing is just walking around different cities in Korea. And he's already at 247,000 subscribers. Do you know how many subscribers people that live in Japan would have? Brothers that live in Japan would have if they only just saved up for a camera and walked around with it? Do you know how many followers people have on TikTok? They don't even show their face. All they do is just give information, give travel tips and information about Japan all day. And they're not ran by black folks. They just talk about, they'll make a video, okay, this is how much the train costs. The different prices, the different forms of payment. You got to, however the amount of money you got to pay for the different the distances, you know what I'm saying? The distance, like, all right, if you go one stop, this is how much you got to pay. If you go 6 stops, this is how much you got to pay. I've seen people, they have millions of views and that's all they do, in Japan. Oh, this is a cafe where you can pet cats. This is a dog cafe. You can pet dogs. This is a the biggest manga store in Japan. They don't show their face. They just give information. And they have millions of followers. And all they do is redirect. They redirect those people to a different platform, to their website, their merch, their YouTube channel, and they monetize it. Like, for the life of me, I don't know why people in Japan, especially brothers, don't get into this. And last but not least, if you don't have thick skin and you're too sensitive, do not travel abroad. You're going to face racism. You're going to face people saying slick things to you. And as a man, you got to learn how to control your emotions. If you can't control your emotions, you fly off the handle. You're ready to fight. You're ready to get loud. You're ready to cause a scene. You're just only going to get arrested. Now, that's not to say that, you shouldn't check people for this. No, definitely check them. But you got to contain some of that energy. You got to hold back on some of that energy, that aggressive energy. I already told you that, earlier, if you're trying to get away from racism, don't move abroad. See, in America, you can speak out. You can contact the ECC, OSHA, and you'll be compensated. They have to compensate you for somebody racially profiling you on the job, racial discrimination, mistreatment based off race. The ECC and OSHA, they have to handle that at your workplace. It's written in your contract. That company does not tolerate any forms of racism, open racism, and open, racism is wide open, especially on the job. ECC, the OSHA, they gotta compensate you. They have to come to your aid. Anywhere else, man, nobody's gonna come for you. Nobody is going to look out for you. So it all depends on how you handle it. You're somebody that flies off the handle, you don't listen, man, don't move abroad. And I should have added another thing on here. Like, if you eat junk food, see, I need to do a whole video talking about health. What's the best diet for optimum nutrition for humans? And a lot of people do not know the answer to that. A lot of people do not know the answer to that. And it's definitely not a plant-based diet. So if you're not healthy, you smoke, you drink, do not move abroad. You eat unhealthy, do not move abroad. You'll get better medical treatment in America or wherever your home country is in than in some of these other countries. Some of them, some other countries, they have a good medical system, Medicare system in their country. Others don't. All right. I don't want to get too deep. This video's gone on long enough. Like, subscribe, comment, share this video. I'm over and I'm out. Peace.